Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive into A Course in Miracles. Today, we're taking on Lesson 10.
Yeah, this one is interesting.
It really is.
Yeah.
Before we jump in, I think it's helpful to touch upon Lesson 9 again, just to ground ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
So as you may recall, Lesson 9 helped us to uh, really see the power of choosing positive thoughts over negative ones.
Right.
And that was really all about understanding that, we have this power to actually, choose what thoughts we focus on.
Mm,
And that those choices actually shape our whole experience.
absolutely.
But lesson 10 kind of takes us in a bit of a different, maybe unexpected direction.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It might even seem a little contradictory at first glance.
Yeah, for sure.
It presents this really fascinating concept that my thoughts do not mean anything.
Okay, hold on a second.
Right.
I mean, does that mean we should just stop thinking altogether?
Well, not exactly.
Because I mean, come on, our thoughts, they kind of feel pretty important, don't they?
They do. They feel very real. But I think what the Course is trying to point to here is not that, we should deny our thoughts
Right.
or pretend that we don't think, because we obviously do.
We do.
It's more about examining that automatic weight and importance we give to our thoughts, especially when it comes to those negative ones, those fearful ones that tend to pop up,
For sure. Those are the sticky ones.
Exactly.
Like the ones that take up residence and won't leave you alone.
Yeah, the ones that just kind of cycle and cycle.
Yeah.
And in the Courses, it talks about the ego. And that term ego is often used to kind of describe that part of our minds that thrives on fear and separation.
Mm-hmm.
And it really wants us to believe that all of those thoughts, especially those negative ones, are actually true and important.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not.
It's it wants to keep us trapped in this cycle of anxiety and negativity, right?
Exactly.
We're giving those thoughts way, way too much power.
So much power.
So much power. Okay, so I'm kind of starting to get this, but how do we know which thoughts to pay attention to if they, quote unquote, don't mean anything?
Right.
How do we discern which ones are important?
That's a great question. And this is where we get to the heart of this lesson, I think. The Course invites us to shift our perspective about our thoughts completely. Instead of putting them into these rigid categories of good or bad, right or wrong,
Right.
we're asked to consider whether they're aligned with love and truth or if they're rooted in fear and negativity. And the Course actually uses specific terminology. Thoughts coming from love and truth are called meaningful, and those from fear and negativity are called meaningless.
So it's not about judging the thought itself.
Right.
Oh, this is a bad thought.
Exactly.
It's more about understanding its origin, its root, its essence.
Exactly.
And whether it's coming from a place of, as you said, love and truth, which is the Course's definition of, the right direction, the true path.
Yeah, the meaningful thoughts, the ones that are going to be helpful, and those meaningless ones, they're not bad, they're just not helpful.
Right.
They're not going to get us where we want to be.
Okay, I'm really digging this, but how do we practically apply this? What are some actionable things we can do right now to, put this into practice?
Well, the Course actually offers this really cool exercise called a thought inventory.
Oh, a thought inventory. I like the sound of that.
It's really simple, but it can be super insightful.
Okay, tell me more.
All you have to do is just grab a notebook or your phone
Mm-hmm.
and just jot down your thoughts as they come up for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
And then afterwards, go back and look at each one and ask yourself, is this thought coming from a place of love and truth, or is it coming from a place of fear and negativity? It's really interesting, actually seeing on paper how many of our thoughts fall into each category.
Yeah.
It can be really eye-opening. And it helps us to kind of start to understand where our mind tends to default to.
That's such a great point. And you know what? This whole idea of the thought inventory kind of reminds me of something we talked about before, mindfulness.
Yes.
That whole practice of observing our thoughts without judgment can really help us to disentangle ourselves from them.
Yes, absolutely. Mindfulness is huge when it comes to this lesson. It's really about developing this awareness of our thoughts as they arise, but not getting caught up in them.
Right.
Not getting swept away by those stories. It's like watching those thoughts float by, clouds in the sky. They're there, but they're not you, and you don't have to engage with every single one. You get to choose.
Okay, so we're not our thoughts. We're the observer of the thoughts.
Exactly.
Got it. So we're learning to create space, to become more mindful to do these thought inventories. But what's the ultimate benefit of all of this? Why is this even important?
I'm glad you asked that because the benefits are truly remarkable.
Okay, I'm ready.
When we start to detach from this belief that our thoughts, especially those negative ones, are inherently true and meaningful,
Right.
we create space for something amazing to happen.
Okay, I'm listening.
First and foremost, stress just starts to melt away. Our
Mhm.
anxiety decreases. We
Yeah.
cultivate inner peace. And all of that creates this like beautiful opening for a deeper connection with something greater, with the divine as the Course defines it.
Wow.
Right.
So by kind of loosening the grip that our thoughts have on us, we're actually opening ourselves up to more peace and like a deeper connection with,
A much, much bigger picture.
yeah, something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're letting go of the reins of our minds just a little bit to allow something else to come in and guide us. You know?
Beautiful way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's powerful stuff.
Hmm.
And it really makes you think about the ripple effects, doesn't it? Like, if we can transform our relationship with our own thoughts, I mean, how might that impact, our relationships with others, with the world around us, how we see things, how we react, how we act?
Yeah.
That's a really big question,
Absolutely. It's a question we can all keep exploring as we continue on this journey.
definitely. Well, thanks for joining me for this deep dive into Lesson 10. It's been really eye-opening, wouldn't you say?
For sure. For sure.
And for all of you listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts, your reflections. Feel free to share in the comments. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you in our next deep dive.